welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I really enjoy the more unique approach I take for Patreon videos. I just feel like I'm able to step back more with you guys and really kind of share some ideas. One idea that did come to me this morning is I always say I'm not a news guy. I'm not reporting the news. Instead, it feels like I'm taking the news and I'm examining it for how it works in shit hits the fan, what it means to us as we get closer to that, as things develop, and then when we're in shit hits the fan, what is it going to be like? In other words, how can we use the current thinking, the news, activities, etc., how can we use those in the future to better understand and then thrive to get through it? Anyways, it is really interesting. So this topic came up, and the news story linked down below is Trump taunts Chris Cuomo, quote, totally losing it, end quote. No, Fredo is not the N-word for Italians. Now, the subject of racism and racist remarks or ethnic slurs is really, it almost seems like a non-issue, except what has happened here. Right, is the left, the political left, through their tools in the media, they're trying to keep partisanship a line between thinking one way and thinking another way. They try and use race, ethnicity as a way to do that, to always paint one side as you can't join their way of thinking because of a racial divide, and that racial divide just can't be crossed. So I want to read to you a quote from Chris Cuomo of the famous Cuomo family in New York. He is a CNN anchor. Anyways, let me read the quote. Quote, my name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN. Fredo was from the Godfather movie. He was the weak brother, and they use it as an Italian aspersion. Are any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's a fucking insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us, Cuomo says. Quote, you're gonna have a fucking problem. I'm fucking ruining your shit. I'll fucking throw you down the stairs like a fucking punk, Cuomo adds. Now CNN subsequently defended Cuomo for this outrage, with a spokesman stating, quote, Chris Cuomo defended himself when he was verbally attacked with the use of an ethnic slur in an orchestrated setup. We completely support him. Now, let's look. This is an anchor at a global satellite news agency, once the most trusted name in news. This is amazing that they can go off using the word fuck, right? And now, yeah, I enjoy you dropping the F-bomb anywhere and everywhere I feel like it. Now, what's amazing to me is when I started this channel 5 years ago, for the first couple of years, I had a lot of people saying, oh my God, you shouldn't say that, it's bad, etc., right? It's not good. Other people, of course, love it when I go into my little tirades. But the point is that what I do, it's not that it's being mimicked by mainstream news now in order to garner attention, but it just shows, yeah, people think these words, and now they're letting them out. They're that aggravated, that mad. And the other thing is if Trump said something, right? If Trump said something, and he's threatening to ruin Trump and to throw him downstairs. That is exactly what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks when we time to time address the violence inherent in the left. I may use the F-bomb, right? I may say fuck when it's appropriate, but I don't combine it with a threat of physical action. I'm going to ruin your shit. I'm going to throw you down the stairs. I'm going to fucking kill you and your family and put your son in a cage with pedophiles. I don't say that shit. These people take it and then go way over the edge. But never mind that. I'm going to get to some more quotes here. And then I'm going to give you how we as preppers, what we can glean from this, and how we can, one of the ways we can think about it. Of course, you get to think about it however you want. I just bring up the subject and say, let's consider this. All right. A response from an actual Italian, right? Quote, take it from an actual Italian, Fredo is not racist against Italians. The Godfather has all Italian characters, and one loser brother is called Fredo. That doesn't amount to the N-word. How is this even an issue? Remarked Alessandra Bocchi. Right? How is this even an issue? Katrina Pearson says, did at Chris Cuomo just say that Fredo is to Italians what the N-word is to black people? The N-word is a dehumanizing word used against blacks who endured years of oppression. Fredo is a term from The Godfather, referring to the dumb brother. Equivocation or equivocating the two is pure racism. Equivocating, I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, I don't believe I have to say this, but Fredo is not an anti-Italian slur, writes Jeet here. It means a stupid guy who doesn't know he's stupid. Frequently used on non-Italians like Don Jr. Now, Don Trump Jr. writes, hey, Chris Cuomo, take it from me, Fredo isn't the N-word for Italians. It just means you're the dumb brother. And he winks. Now, here's my thing. Here's my take on this. Is they are trying to cast the aspersion. They're casting aspersions. They're casting President Trump, Donald Trump Jr., anyone who's a Trump supporter, anyone who is not a socialist. They're trying to cast us as racists and take from us the ability to speak, right? To use a word or a character, right? If I were to refer to any of Samuel Jackson's characters in a positive light, any of his movie characters, does that make me a racist for positively referring to them, right? Because he fits into some director's stereotypical role. No, I haven't done anything wrong. If I were to negatively refer to, say, the Pulp Fiction character that Samuel Jackson portrayed, where he was a thug, literal thug, murderous thug, hitman thug, if I were to refer to that character because of how it was portrayed in the movie, does that make me a racist, negative? Well, the guy is a murderer. He's a bully. He's condescending to his victims, right? He uses religion in his tirade before he murders them. Does that make me a racist for referring to that character? No, it's a movie and it's a character, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, it doesn't matter, but that's what was done, is referring to someone as a Fredo has nothing to do with race, but that doesn't matter. What matters really is when are people going to grow up? When are Americans of any ethnic persuasion or lack of ethnic persuasion going to grow up? When are they going to stop using the concept of race as a cop-out or a way to accuse your opposition? Truly, it's a red herring. It gives way to an ad hominem attack, right? Instead of arguing against the position, you argue against the person and then call them a name, right? It is complete logical fallacy, and it is also the bastion of a weak mind, right? It is the fortress of ignorance to hide behind such use, right? To call someone a racist because you have no other argument just shows that you have no other argument. It doesn't make you any more correct. But I want to talk about this stuff now having to do with shit hitting the fan. Okay, I've been told that as a white European man, I cannot understand other ethnicities. I can't understand other cultures. I can't understand the history of what they've suffered, because they're not suffering today. They're suffering back then, right? Growing up, Polak jokes were popular in my house because I have Polish relatives, right? They made Polish words, right? They used the P word, Polak, right? Is that bad? I grew up with that. I listened to that, right? but I can't understand it. Right? How close do I have to be? Do I have to be a Polak? Do I have to be married to one, or having grown up in a Polish household in order to understand how they were treated or called stupid? Right? The same way Fredo refers to a dumb brother. Is it an Italian slur or is it an intelligence slur? And should we be allowed to pick on people because of their intelligence? When will the world grow up? And if I can't understand because of my privilege, as they say, if my privilege blinds me from truly understanding race, ethnicity, income, if I am naturally handicapped by the color of my skin or my gender, why should I even bother trying? Right. If I'm told I can't get it, if I can't sympathize, if I can't understand, why bother trying? Fuck it. I'm going to save my time and energy. Exactly. Right? And it's not what we say, right? It's what we do that matters. It's what we do today that matters, not what was done 100 years ago or 150 years ago or even 50 years ago. It doesn't even matter what was done 10 years ago. What matters is today. Now, feigning racial insult is exploitative of real racism. If Swedish people or German people were being thrown in concentration camps today on the basis of their race and not their nationality. In other words, I'm a full American. I was born American. I was born in America, right? I'm not even a naturalized citizen. I was born here. I'm an American. If they were taking people who looked like me, German, Scandinavian types, and throwing them in prison for looking like a German, Scandinavian type, that would be racism in action. To threaten to throw Swedes and Scandinavians and Germans in, and might as well throw in the Scots and the Irish as well, because they're Celtic as well. If they were to threaten to throw all of us Celts in jail, and in order to become Celt, we have to go back in history a lot further than just the last couple hundred years. If they were going to throw us Celts in jail based on our either doing it or threatening it because they have power, like someone like AOC and the left, who for political reasons want to exterminate and throw into death camps people of certain persuasions, that is what is being done today. And that is the racism. Right? And it just is. It's not what has happened in the past. Now, what matters is what's happening now. It's not even what is being said about someone's skin color or ethnicity or gender. It's not what is said about it in a joke. It is what is being done and threatened that really matters. We're going to kill you. We're going to exterminate you. Right? It's where we are today. And by doing what the left is doing, they're exploiting what was done with blacks. They were enslaved. It's exploiting that by trying to jump on the coattails and riot and say anything racially noted or ethnically noted or skin color noted is an act of racism. But the first thing that people do when they want to call others racist is point to their own skin color and then use that as the shield, the victim shield that they get to hold up, claim victimhood, and then attack. So anyone who says, that's racist, man, you're holding that up as a shield and claiming victim status. Right? I don't get victim status. I don't get to say, I'm white. I don't get to say, I'm Scandinavian. You can't say that. I don't get to say, I'm a male. Give me special privilege and consideration in an argument because of my gender, my skin color, or my ethnicity. Right? The entire use of the racism victim shield is becoming passé. because it is being overused. Now, right, I can't understand it because I'm what I am. I'm not allowed to be believed that I understand it. It's not what we say, it's what we do that matters. Racial slurs are just words. When are people going to grow up? Old systems have passed. Where are we today? And feigning racial insult is exploitive of real racism that's going on. And I'm not just going to say racism is about race. Now it's about your political persuasion, right? I point at them and go, you fucking commies, and it's derisive. Is that racist? No, but I'm pointing facts. That's a fact. You're commies, right? And they're looking at me going, you're a fascist. Well, they're wrong or incorrect or inaccurate. I'm a free market guy. But they consider that fascist because it's being exploited by corporations and government. Now let's take all of the things we just discussed and move them into shit hits the fan. When shit hits the fan, do I give a shit if someone is Scandinavian or Italian, Chinese or black? No, I don't. I'm going to be equally suspicious of everybody. I'm not worried about race in shit hits the fan. I'm worried about survival. I'm not worried about race when shit hits the fan and skin color. I'm wondering whether or not any person I see is a physical threat to my safety, my family's safety, my group's safety, the safety and security of the community. That's what I'm worried about. All of a sudden, everything is cast aside. I don't care what was said in my childhood by family members about the Polish. I don't care that as a kid, 15 years and younger, I was chased by people of color and threatened with all manner of murder. It doesn't matter anymore, right? I've grown up, me personally, grown up beyond that. It doesn't matter what names I was called and how that was used as an excuse to hurt me. I don't care. I've grown past that. I don't care what was done and how the Irish and Italian immigrants coming to America were treated poorly. None of that matters in shit hits the fan. I don't care about slavery when shit hits the fan, because that was a long time ago and it's not important for today's discussion or today's action. Out in front of my house and shit hits the fan, right? Right, there's people out there and it doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. Ethnicity doesn't matter. What part of the town you grew up in doesn't matter. I don't care how much money you had before shit hits the fan. Nothing else matters except there's a person and what are they going to do? And will I remember them when I see them again for either a good act or a bad act or a neutral act, right? Is their act walking on by? Is that neutral, positive, or negative? Did they look at me? Did they point a gun at me? Whatever. But this whole thing about race is incredible. That is being used to such a degree and at every turn. That is how desperate the left is. Because what I've tried doing is I've tried talking about how if race doesn't matter, why do they keep pointing it out? I'm an Italian, I'm black, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Swiss, whatever if it doesn't matter, why bring it up? And if it does matter still, what can be done about it? The continuous claiming of victimhood is ridiculous. When shit hits the fan, and let's just say there's a group of black preppers. They've got their house, and some white guy comes walking down the street wearing a tie and a torn and ripped coat, carrying a briefcase covered in mud because he's trying to get home. But shit has hit the fan, and he's going through this neighborhood. Is he to be treated racially? I mean, where does race come into shit hits the fan? Why? Why is it still important? Right? Why isn't, is it revenge? Why? Why victimhood continuously? Well, I believe it gives people the excuse or the impetus to do bad things and then use that as the backstop. right? That's my reasoning, because of something that was done 100 years ago or 200 years ago, right? It's because that guy with the business suit and the briefcase was rich. So I'm going to get him, I'm going to get back at him. Right? These are all excuses to justify being a shithead. Anyone that uses these things is making an excuse to justify being scum. Right? If someone is kind or good, whatever, right? Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't tell this guy coming down the street, hey, go to the other side of the street. We don't trust you or anybody else. Right? Calling some names, right? Might get his attention. Hey, a cracker or whitey or honky or whatever the fuck someone would call this guy in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time during Shit Hits the Fan. Right? Take a wide berth, mister. Right? Go around. It's probably something I would say. But this idea, Fredo is not the N-word for Italians. Who gives a shit at this point? And when shit hits the fan, I hope and I pray that people have a bigger mental grasp of what has happened than to rely on old stereotypes and old reactions to old concepts that have been overused and overplayed. Now, I do understand that people are still upset about it. But I believe that upset, that upsettedness, that feeling of victimization is being projected onto people of all colors, all genders, all ethnicities, because color isn't necessarily ethnic, right? A brown person from the island of American Samoa, who was born in France, raised in France, and is a Frenchman, but has the ethnicity of an islander. If you say something about the French, right, the French ethnicity, or right, the French culture, you're insulting him as much as anyone else. So, I mean, color is everywhere, right? Ethnicity is now everywhere. Right, there's Italian and Chinese and Japanese communities and Irish communities all over the United States of America. It's ethnicity, but it can also be used nationally. So to cast aspersions or to cast racial bias onto everybody by the continual use of the term racism and pointing to examples of people who are upset, it has done nothing but cause people to get upset because they're continually picking the scab off the wound instead of letting it heal. They're continuing to bring up racism and to call people racists. My claim is, when will people grow up, is a call in my own way for people to grow the fuck up, to let the wounds heal over and to live from today onward, instead of picking the scab off and living in the past and then screaming at everyone because we feel slighted, right? What is being done to us today? Today, right, we're being told that we're either a bad guy or a good guy based on racism. Today, we're being told that we're a good guy or a bad guy based on your political belief system. None of those matter. You're a good guy or a bad guy depending on your gender. None of that really matters. What matters is, are you being treated poorly or are you being treated properly? Right? Are people threatening to put any ethnicity or racial group or skin color into concentration camps or be made slaves or be stolen from? Or is anyone promoting the idea? What ideas are being promoted out there is that it's okay for banks to steal. That's an idea that's being promoted out there, and it hurts everybody. That's bad. Another idea that's being promoted is that if you are some victim group, you have a right to scream and yell at others and make others feel bad about it. That's wrong. That's not good. That's wrong. Let's see, what else? If you belong to a certain political party, you can be thrown in a concentration camp, a death camp. You can be exterminated. You can be hunted. You can be kicked out of restaurants. You can be harassed, harangued, yelled at, and cussed at in public. If you belong to a particular political persuasion, You can be denied your job. You can be attacked personally. You can have your private identity, phone number, job, contact information, address, residence, domicile, have that revealed to the public along with your political belief system so that others can start victimizing you. That is real action that's happening today. And it's being done for a reason, because they want to hurt people. And it's the left. It is the political left that is glomming on to everything they can to hurt others. Calling for violence, harassment, and the destruction of people's lives, their income, etc. Right? And this guy, Chris Cuomo, right, who says, I'm an anchor at CNN. Okay, that's appeal to authority or appeal to intelligence. It doesn't exist. A logical fallacy. And then a call that he's being racially slurred, and then he's being backed by CNN headquarters. Go ahead and cuss all you want because you were attacked, because you felt threatened, because you felt insulted, because you, Chris Cuomo, are feigning racial insult, right? You're living in systems of the old, not the new, right? Racial slurs, if they're even racial slurs, are just words. Grow up. But it wasn't even a racial slur, right? It's not what we say, it's what we do and how we treat people. Nobody's fired Chris Cuomo. No one's threatening Chris Cuomo's job because he's afraid of, right? And since I can't understand, I don't give a shit anyways. I mean, those are the concepts that are in this. But who is he affecting? He's affecting people that have already been affected and told that all of that matters. That it's okay to exploit race. And it's not about where we can be at today as humans. It's where we were in the past. And racial slurs are real and they hurt you. And it's not really what we do. It's what we say that matters. Right? And it's just incredible. That's where they are at on the left. It is the political left that is pushing this. And they're pushing for shit hitting the fan. They're pushing for conflict between left and right politically. Their arguments are invalid. They don't hold up in debate. They don't mesh on paper. They are, when you take history and you look at what they're saying needs to be done, it is a failed model that they point to and say, we want to do that again. Socialism. The use of race in divisive products. It's a failed model. It doesn't help things. It doesn't help to always point to race and religion and ethnicity because it shows division rather than unity. Right? When shit hits the fan, folks, we are going to be treated to this behavior by leftists. They will come down the street, not as a race, but as a political movement that uses race, as a political movement that uses gender, as a political movement that uses wealth, right? The appearance of someone having wealth, they use that against them. And as a quick aside, people who appear rich because they're driving a Mercedes or they live in a certain neighborhood, just like people who are middle income and poor, they've got massive, massive debt. They've taken out loans, mortgages, car loans, credit card debt. The average American, including those who appear to be wealthy, are mired in debt. Well, they own 5 houses. Yeah, they have a mortgage on all 5 houses. They don't really own them. They're making payments. I know that game. I've been there. Unless you own it outright, you're not wealthy. And even if you do, how much wealth is that really? But when shit hits the fan, all of these will become excuses for the political left to attack and hurt you. Whether it's about money, status, where you come from, how you dress, your skin color, your ethnicity, the language you use. People will use that against you if they are leftists. If you believe in freedom and liberty and equality, egalitarianism, if you believe in those concepts, it doesn't matter who's coming down the street. You're going to treat them the same. They represent a threat to you. When they come down the street, If they don't act out their threat, you're going to treat them equally, just like you would anyone else, regardless of income appearance or race appearance or ethnicity appearance, right? We're going to perceive everyone equally because they will all, when shit hits the fan, be equal, because it'll be an us and them scenario. Are they here to hurt me? What do they want? Right? Shit has hit the fan. There's gunshots, there's fires, there's collapse, there's trouble, there's chaos. I'm worried about everyone equally. But if someone comes down the street and they're carrying a Antifa flag, what does that tell you? It tells you they do see income, right? Social status, race, gender. They do see that, and that's how they're going to act, because that is how they're acting today. They truly are, the leftists truly are racist. They are truly homophobic. They fear anyone, or maybe they're heterophobic. They fear anyone that isn't like them, and they prescribe violence as the means and solution for their problems. When shit hits the fan, it'll become more so. But let's just see what's going on today. Not last month even, or last year, or 10 years ago, or 100 years ago. What is the left doing today? Chris Cuomo, what are they doing today? They're trying to get us to fight over race, ethnicity, income, etc. Right? Way up at the top, the bad, evil banker corporate pricks and the bad, evil political and bureaucratic pricks are hurting us. They're the ones hurting us. And on the street here at home, those that are hurting us are those that continue to use these antics to try and punish us and get us to punish ourselves. That is what they are doing, and we need to ignore it. We need to move away from it. We need to understand it so that they can't hurt us, right? And they can't get us to hurt ourselves. How many people out there are beating up on themselves psychologically because of sexuality, gender, race, or income, or religion? Right? You should feel bad because you're Christian, or you're white, or you're male. You should feel bad because you're straight. You should feel bad because you're employed, and then blame yourself for all those things because others are without or have not. Right? There's so many victims out there. You're supposed to feel bad about yourself now. When shit hits the fan, how do you think those people are going to react? These confused people. They aren't going to know which way the wind is fucking blowing. Because if anyone comes down the street and shouts that they're a racist, they're gonna drop to their knees. If anyone comes down the street and says be free, they're going to drop to their knees because they don't know which way to go. They themselves have been confused because the illogical appear to be in charge. And what should be logical doesn't seem to make sense, right? If everything's so great, why are we going into a recession, right? There's just all of this confusion. When shit hits the fan, there's going to be a lot of confusion, and that's why as preppers, you and I need to understand this ahead of time. We need to grasp everything ahead of time. We need to incorporate it into our plan and understand that people coming down the street, race don't matter, color don't matter. What matters is what they're saying at that moment, how they're acting at that moment, what they're going to do at that moment. Because when shit hits the fan, you're going to have to live in the moment. Right? That's what we're going to have to live in, is the moment. Because at that point, the past doesn't matter. And the hope for the future, that doesn't matter. You're going to have to deal with every day as it comes. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Those are going to be the things we deal with in shit hits the fan. Are you trained? Are you practiced? Are you prepared? I'll talk to you guys soon, right? I'll be back. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. You guys be cool.